Well, more from the Tynwald Select Committee looking into the future of public service broadcasting. With me is the Chief Minister, who was brought in today, and some people might have thought, what have you got to contribute? I mean, what position were you there today to give evidence?
Well, I suppose the committee are looking at all aspects, and I've just announced today that we've finally secured the deal with the BBC over the over 75s free TV licences, that from now on they won't have to apply for a rebate. It's going to be free of charge for those over 75. The government will have to pay 2/3 of the cost for the coming year, and then the next year it'll only be 1/3, and the year after that it'll be free to the government.
Remind me, it was free, and then they took it away?
No, it was, the government have paid it. It's then the Conservative government agreed that the BBC should give a free licence to the over 75s with a sort of a phased period, with government giving a certain contribution. So we have now got that agreed, that we're part of the, our pensioners over 75 will get the same treatment as Jersey, Guernsey and the Isle of Man.
I was going to say, because they got it sorted out ages ago, didn't they?
Well, it was the previous administration decision to do away with the over 75s and put it on a mean testing footing, that I then had to overturn that and renegotiate. Well, my team had to, and we've successfully got that done and signed, and we were confident we would, but paperwork's gone through today. So,
okay. Well, summarising on then, what's your view? I know you have to speak here with two hats, one as head of Cohen, but what's your view on Manx Radio? Do you see a future for it?
Yes, I see a future for Manx Radio as a public broadcaster, whether it's in the name, but a service where the people of the Isle of Man have a quality news desk and cultural programmes for the people of the Isle of Man, but it costs a lot of money to provide a news programme, and therefore I suppose we have to accept that commercial radio is never going to provide the sort of service that the people of the Isle of Man want in detail sometimes, and they don't always want it, but I think it's interesting to note that when there's a bad flood or snow or a road closed, the amount of hits that the Manx Radio site gets when they're funding the reporters to get out there and give commentary on it. So I support that, but obviously as Chief Minister, but also as a backbencher, MHK, you've got to get value for money. You've got to be sure that the public's money that goes into a subvention is achieving the best value for money, and I think it's interesting, and I'm delighted that this committee is looking into that, but also we have to ensure that what we pay, a percentage of what we pay for the BBC-TV licence, also covers radio services that the BBC provide, BBC Radio 1, 2, 3 and 4, but not all the people on the Isle of Man listen to that. So are we getting value for money from that? And I think that's a concern a number of people have had. My priority when I came in as Chief Minister was to reverse the decision not to fund free licences to the over 75s. It's taken us a while, but we've now delivered that today, so that's a promise I made. My next step was to look at the funding issue with the money that the people of the Isle of Man give to the BBC. Are we getting value for money from that, from the radio part of it? I'm glad this committee's been set up. I'll listen to what their evidence. Obviously it'll be debated in Tynwald. I'll see what Tynwald agree, and then the Council of Ministers going forward will take that forward in negotiations with the BBC.
Maybe tell people what you said to that question about could you see a BBC Isle of Man. Your response was?
Well, personally for me, if we're spending circa £1 million of taxpayers' money, if they wanted to call it BBC Isle of Man and we got the same service and the quality of cultural programmes and news on the Isle of Man, then I would happily lose the title of it if it saved the people of the Isle of Man £1 million.
But end day, the government owns the station. You kind of roll out almost daily a little bit on the news. The Chief Minister said today, and it always sounds sometimes like Eastern European sort of things. I mean, I think again this morning, an interview probably done days ago. Yeah. Is there not a worry that they're almost trying to pacify you, or I say suck up to you almost in that sense of trying to keep you on side?
No, I have, behind the scenes we have numerous arguments with Manx Radio over certain issues where we feel they haven't maybe reported it fairly. So no, they are totally independent, and the Communications Commission sees to it that there's no interference from myself, because it's in our interests that it's independent, because if the people of the Isle of Man thought it wasn't, then they wouldn't trust the work that they do. So no, as much as I would love to be able to control all the media on the Isle of Man, you saw how little influence I have on that when I think I gave my State of the Nation speech and mentioned social media and got absolutely lynched by all concerned. So you think I have too much power. I wish I had half the power you think I had, Paul.
Okay. 4 years ago, I mean, every 4 years, 5 years, it seems to be this public service thing, and more, obviously Manx Radio and its future. 4 years ago, nothing really was set up, really, hence we're back here again. Do you think this is it, this time round? There will be a final thing put in place on the future of how we deliver public service broadcasting?
I'm going to give you a politician's answer here, Paul, because I genuinely don't know. I hope. I mean, everyone's going into it with a hope that we will, but we've got to see what evidence the committee come to Tynwald with, and that really will be key. So, as much as I'd like to say yes, having seen in my time 2 reports and Tynwald hasn't voted to accept all of the recommendations, then I think we'll just have to wait and see and wish the committee the very best.